Now in this class we are going to apply the identity, the formula that x into y, the product of two numbers, is equal to their HCF into their LCM. Now this is a very important formula, and I think you should practice many questions on this formula. And of course on this channel we'll be taking several such classes, so do subscribe. You'll automatically get some practice. So here we have been told that there are two numbers x and y, and their LCM and HCF satisfy this relationship, which is 7 times the HCF is equal to LCM. So before we actually solve this problem, I want to bring out a result here. Now let's take two numbers, 2 and 14. If you take these two numbers, what can you observe? Their LCM is the lowest common multiple. What does it mean by lowest common multiple? It is a number which should be divided by both 2 and 14. So of course such a number would be 14. It can never be less than 14. So it has to be 14. Now what about the HCF? That is the highest common factor. It is the largest factor which appears in both numbers. And what is the largest factor which appears in both numbers? That is equal to 2. So the thing here is that HCF actually appears in both the numbers. So this 14 I can write as 2 into 7, whereas the LCM, it contains the factors across all the numbers. So all the numbers, I need to take the factors of all the numbers into account when I write the LCM. It is a multiple, which means that it appears in tables of both the numbers. So what we have been told here is that the HCF of the two numbers x and y is actually equal to, let's just assume that is actually equal to a, which means that a has to be a factor of both x and y. That is very natural, right? So in our example, 2 was a factor of both the numbers. That's why our HCF was equal to 2. If 4 was a factor of both the numbers, our HCF would have been 4. So HCF, of course, has to be common to both the numbers. So both x and y must contain a as their factor. A is our HCF. So that's what I have taken. HCF, I have just assumed that it is equal to a. Now the next thing you need to understand is that LCM is 7 times the HCF, which means that LCM has an additional factor. Okay, so this LCM is equal to 7a, which means that in addition to a, which is the HCF, this LCM has an additional factor of 7, which means that one of the numbers has to have this factor of 7. That is where it came from. So for example, this LCM here, in addition to HCF, it had a factor of 7 here. So if I write it, I would write it as 7 into 2. So there was an additional factor of 7 in addition to the 2, the HCF right here. And where did this 7 come from? It has to come from one of the numbers. So therefore, if one of my numbers is x, the other has to be 7a, because this factor of 7 has to have come from somewhere. So now with this information, our problem becomes very simple, because now what we have been told is that x plus y, which is equal to a plus 7a, which is equal to 8a, is equal to 392. Now this 392 is of course divisible by 8. So our problem becomes very simple, and this actually implies that our a, if you solve it, it will come out to be 49. So that is one of our numbers. What about the other one? Our other number y, so this is actually equal to x, and the other number y is actually equal to 7a, which is equal to 7 times 49, and this is a multiplication right here. A dot signifies a multiplication, if you will, and this becomes 343. You can solve it. Okay, so again, very important identity. HCF into LCM is equal to product of two numbers. And if you have subscribed to this channel, we have been solving several such problems, and of course these have also been covered in our notes on Doorstep Tutor, in our lectures on Doorstep Tutor. Thank you.